I'm doing a video series on integrating a particular user interface feature into a larger application. The feature we're integrating in isolation can be found on CodePen. I created a completely standalone example. This is something that you could hand off to the development team as here's a prototype that's working for us in a very simple way, but it's not integrated at all with the application. This helps you to understand whether a piece of technology is a good choice in its own right. So we have this working sample here, works great, love everything about it. We can zoom in on the Donald's lips, we can do an export, it's perfect, it's just what we need. So then the next step was I proceeded to integrate it into our application. And I have a little bit of debugging going on here, but you can see that we have it zooming, and behind the scenes it's updating that. We can save it, we can recall it, we can zoom back out later, do all kinds of things with this. It's really great. However, there's one thing at least that I've noticed that this library doesn't do that we really need it to do, and that is the library doesn't give us access to the uploaded image directly. It only gives us access to the cropped image. The reason why open source is so great is I can look in the library and see that it's not doing quite what we need it to do. Here's the line of code where the uploaded data is assigned to this variable called pre-image. And if we look up at the top, we see that pre-image is an HTML image, but it's stored completely encapsulated in this plugin. The plugin doesn't expose us to that raw uploaded data. So we have a choice here to enhance our application, because I do want to save the original file. The debate here is I don't just want to save the cropped version of the image, because I want the user to be able to come back later and adjust the zoom settings. So for example, we save the image like this and go back in and edit. And that's nice, but what if I want to adjust it? See, I'd like to be able to back out again. But what I noticed was that this isn't the whole image. It's only the biggest cropped version that could be saved. It's not the whole entire image, because if I upload this again and attach it again, now I see that there's more to the image, but it'll only give me the biggest cropped version. That's what's actually being saved. So I need to get at the raw data from the file, which means I can go here to the source code, and I can do basically this. I can check out where load image is called. Hold on here. Load image is called from on file reader loaded, and on file reader loaded is called from right here. So this file reader opens it up, reads the data, calls on file reader loaded calls load image, loads that image. But basically I can steal a little bit of source code from here so that we can read it into a file reader of our own and post it across the wire to save it. And that's assuming that I even need to go through all of that. The reason it's a little bit tricky is file uploads, and the way browsers handle file uploads is not the same as other fields. So usually it requires a page refresh unless you go out of your way, and I don't want the page refreshing here, so I do need to go out of my way. So all of these are integration issues, right? We have the basic technology working in our CodePen, but the really heavy lifting, the really expensive part of this operation is integrating it into our app. And when I talk about integration, I'm talking about real usability factors and features, not simply just copying and pasting code. But integrating to me means I'm trying to use this thing and I'm noticing little problems, little flaws, little rough edges, and I want to get it all working perfectly. So integration is so expensive that it really, really helps to have a working prototype first and to have done your research and seen how they all work to begin with. I know it may sound like an obvious thing, but a lot of people rush in and don't take the simplest path. What we're trying to avoid at all costs maintaining our own versions of all these packages that we're using. We want to leverage the packages and maybe set up some code around them to handle the exception cases that they don't handle. That is vastly preferable to maintaining the package ourselves. One counter argument to that, just to play devil's advocate, is that if you do maintain your own package version, you don't have to worry about the package changing out from under you. My answer to that is that in here we have a very specific version of the jQuery Croppit plugin, and that version is the one that we're using. We won't change it until we do change it. It's not going to change out from under us. So by modifying our code around the package rather than trying to maintain and modify the package itself, we're really saving ourselves a lot of future headache, future maintenance. It's a much clearer architecture to say, okay, here are our standard packages upon which we rely, and now here's some custom code that modifies it. So we're going to take this code here and make it into our own. I have a handy Stack Overflow article that shows me how to get noticed when a form input changes and how to grab data from the file input. And so I just paused it, and now I'm coming back after a little bit of code kung fu right here. We have saved now the original image so that we can do things like this. We zoom all the way out and see now we have the full image again. So this is what I consider to be, a very usable type of application. We can close this, we can save everything, it works great. When we come back, we like that image, but maybe we want to revise it just a little bit, perhaps zoom out a little bit more. Looks to me like the zoom actually didn't work. I think I just found a bug there while I was doing this with you. Okay, there we go. That's working a lot better. We can click in there, we can click out, click back in, make some adjustments, click out, we can save, we can go back in. One of the reasons I like making these videos is because it really challenges me to try out the features like a user would. So this is feeling pretty reliable now, and we did it all still without having to modify. So to recap, we have finished integrating this feature. In a different video, I will show you how the file uploading works and how I like to store files on the server and things like that. This has all been front-end work, so I'm going to stop this tutorial. It's not really a tutorial, a walkthrough perhaps, and we'll see you next time.